So these are the wordable wizards. These are some of the different types of activity you can make here. And I'm going to start maybe by just showing you a few of those, and then we'll move on to the rest. So now I realise as well we've got teachers here from lots and lots of different levels, different types of schools, so different subjects. So I'm going to try and make it kind of pretty broad, but really this is kind of content independent. So you put in the stuff, and it makes whatever level you happen to want to use that for you. And we have, we have infant schools in the UK that use it. We also have universities, so all sorts. But I'll start maybe by showing the sentence maker. And the way the sentence maker works is if I type in my sentence like so, I'm going to put in a bit of Shakespeare. It takes it and it renders up on the board as a series of tiles. And the idea behind these tiles is they provide interactive objects that we can manipulate through the board. So I could take these tiles and I could maybe flip them all over, like so. And I could go through here and I could reveal some of the tiles and I could say to my class, does anyone recognise this sentence? And I might ask someone to come up to the board with the interactive whiteboard pen, okay? And I might write on there what I think the missing word is, and I could flip the tile over and I could see if they were right. So that's one way that I could use it, okay? Another thing I could do is I could maybe select these tiles and I could turn them into anagrams. So I could replace each letter with a question mark. I could take out the vowels. So we've got here again another type of activity, and we could go through and we could reveal the words, okay? Maybe another thing I could do here is I could say select a kind of particular word in here. So I could select compare, and I might want to highlight this as a verb in red, so we highlight the doing words. I might want to take this sentence, I might want to jumble it up, and I might want to ask someone to come up to the board, a student perhaps, and put it back together. But the idea is you've got lots and lots of different ways of using it here, but it's really, really straightforward to make. Because you could kind of make something like this in PowerPoint, couldn't you? You could draw out the text boxes, you could then make them the right size, type in the text. If you were savvy with it, you might even know how to turn them into interactive buttons. It's not to say you couldn't do it, but with this it's really, really easy and anyone can do it. So that's really the gist. Let me show you something else. Okay, so another one of these activities we've got here is a seating plan. So with this, I could draw a little map of my classroom if I wanted to. So I could put my students out, I could draw a little map, so I've got my desks here, say, and I could put maybe a teacher's desk at the front and some windows at the side for everyone to kind of stare out of. And I'm going to type in some student names. Now if you had a list of these, obviously in Excel or something like that, I'd probably just paste them in, but I don't. So here's my class, and what I'm then going to do is I'm going to take my students, so I could maybe decide where they're going to sit, if I wanted to, and we can sit them down here, like so. And once I sat them down, say I wanted to pick someone out of my class to answer a question or perform a particular task, we got this tool here which is called the spinner. And, oh, wait a minute. The idea of the spinner is it's like a little fickle figure of fate, so it picks someone out of random. So say, who's it going to land on? Oh, John. Okay, so actually my sound doesn't. Oh, wait, it's because I turned the sound off. So we can say, right, it lands on John. There, he has maybe answered this question correctly. So I'm going to say, right, John, you've answered that question. Now when I run the spinner again, it selects from the remaining students. Turn the sound back on now. And I'll say, who's it going to land on? Oh. Okay, Julian. No, Jamal. Okay, so Jamal's answered the question. We carry on in that kind of vein. So it's just a really easy way of picking people out of the class to do what we want to do. Okay, another thing we can do is, let's say, for example, I've got my class and they sat wherever they wanted to, but I've drawn a seating plan in case someone comes in, does a cover lesson, they want to know who's sitting there. But then I decide, actually, I want to move my class around because I want them to work with different people. They're going to do, say, I don't know, an experiment in science and pairs, and I want to move them around. So we've got a swapper here that will move them all around. But I've got Jemima here, sat near the teacher's desk at the front, because she's been a little bit naughty, a bit disruptive, you see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Jemima, and I'm going to lock her into her seat, and then I'm going to use the swap and move everyone else around. So we can do that sort of thing as well. Okay. Cruel, isn't it? Cruel. So I'm going to show you another one here. This is called the simple text wall. I'm going to type in the names of some, I don't know, animals, just because they come to mind. Feel free to suggest some if you like. Echidna. That's an Australian hedgehog, isn't it? That's good, thanks. Anyway, what was the other one? Sheep. Cow. Elephant.
Mower.
What's that?
Mower.
Mower. How do you spell that?
And what is it?
M-O-M-O-A.
Oh, wow. Good knowledge. Okay. How are we doing here? So, actually, I'll do two more.
Zebra.
Yeah, I got that one. That's good. Zebra. Emu. Cool. Okay, so I've got my keywords in here now. Now, down the right-hand side of the board here, you've got these kind of banks, the image bank, text bank, activity bank. And the idea of these banks, they make it really easy to get resources into your wall. So, say for example, I wanted to see what a mower looks like. I could go to the image bank over here, and I could search for mower. Okay, it'll go online, and it'll get me a picture of the said creature, which I can then pick up, and I can drag into my wall. And we can see that is indeed a mower. If I wanted a picture, I don't know, of an echidna, I could click on this and I could go to the image bank and we could search for it and we could bring it into our wall. So it's just a very easy way of bringing resources in. Now, the other thing I might want to do is, let's say for example, I don't know, we search for some zebras, but I don't want to put my zebras on the back of the tile or front of the tile, I want to put it behind the whole wall. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom out a little bit and I'm going to get our zebra picture, maybe we'll have this one, and I'm going to drag it into the wall. But this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the back of the whole wall, okay? So we're going to take this, and I'm going to set it as a background image, and then we're going to zoom in, and we can play a game, a bit like catchphrase. Do you have catchphrase on TV here?
Yes.
Say what you're seeing, that kind of thing, okay? So you can say, these are the answers to the question, what was the question? So someone in my class might say, oh, I don't know, which of these is a marsupial hedgehog? So we can kind of reveal, there's a wall behind here, or which of these is an animal we've never heard of, or a cetacean, and we can kind of reveal bits of our wall behind that, and we can kind of, also we can keep behind as well, so do stuff like that. So those are some of the things we could do. Now the second of these banks that we've got here is a text bank, and the way the text bank works is if I click on a bit of text, like kangaroo, I can go to text bank and I can get things like dictionary definitions of kangaroo. So we can go in here, we can search for them, and I can pick out a definition. So maybe if I was using this with, I don't know, a secondary school science class, that might be the sort of definition I want to bring in. If I was using it maybe with younger learners, I might find this sort of definition, which has come out of an EAL dictionary, is a bit more appropriate. But equally so, we also learned that a kangaroo is a 1952 American film, a World War II armoured personnel carrier, the alias of two Spider-Man villains, apparently, and a novel by D.H. Lawrence. So we can go down and we can bring in lots of other definitions as well. We've also got the encyclopedia here, which focuses in on the main meaning of the word. So if I might be interested to know that, what have we got? Wild kangaroos are shot for meat. So I can pick that up and I can bring that into my wall. If I had someone in my class who was, I don't know, Portuguese or kind of Polish, I can bring in translations. So we can use it for AL learners. And we're doing a new release of the software where we're building a little translation engine into it, hopefully. So there'll be more of that. So that's kind of some of the things you can do with the text bank. But the third of these banks, the activity bank, is the most exciting bit of the software, I think. And the reason it's particularly cool is, okay, so you've got your file menu up here, just as you would in any other application, and you go to File and you go to Save. And you save what you've made, okay? So we save that, and once we've saved it, we're then asked if we want to share what we've made with other teachers. And all we have to do is click on Allow Sharing, and it takes this file, and it uploads it to the activity bank, where basically anyone else who's using the software can access it. So there's like, I don't know, about 26,000 resources on there, but it's growing all the time as teachers make stuff and share it. So this one was actually just uploaded now on development indicators, but we got a crossword pollution, semantic change, something to do with limestone, and lots and lots of resources, basically, something in Hungarian. But we can also go there and we can search for things, which is obviously a bit more useful. So, say for example, I don't know, let's say we were doing something in geography and we wanted a kind of flags-based resource. So I could go here and we could look for some resources to do with flags. So I could double click on that, and we've got a kind of flag wall here where we've got some pictures of flags and we've got the names of the countries. I don't know if we were doing something in science, we could go here, we could search for metals, and then we get all the resources either which are called metals or have the word metals in them. So we've got something on alloys, transition metals, metals and non-metals, and metalloids, patterns of reactivity, 12 metals with their pictures. What we've got here, so my internet's running a little bit slow, so it might take a second to load. So there we've got what we've got here. So here we've got the names of the metals, their chemical symbols, and then behind it we've just got pictures. So what might we do with this sort of activity? Well, I guess we could, I guess in science, I'm not a science teacher, but we could take these and we might put them in order of reactivity. So it might be easiest to do this with the chemical symbols. So I think potassium's pretty reactive, and so sodium, and I think kind of silver and gold aren't so reactive, so we can start doing something like that. We might decide to take these and we might decide to categorise them into groups. So we might say, okay, which of these are used in electronics? Okay, so we could write that over there. Some that are used, I don't know, in jewellery, so we can kind of sort them into groups. And let's say we've done some stuff with this, whatever it is, whatever the content is. And now we want to revisit this information and names of our metals and their chemical symbols in a different way. So we've got two columns of data, name of metal, chemical symbol. Well, you've got this little tool up here called convert. And what convert allows you to do is to take this information that we put in and turn it into something else. So we can turn it into, say, a crossword. So we've got the same information now, but in another format. And we can print this out as a worksheet, or we can use it with the handset gizmos that I handed out. And we might then decide to go through the answers up here on the board. Let's say we did that with our class, and they still haven't got it, so after all that, so we decide to take it in and we're going to turn it into something else now. We're going to turn it into a definition matchup. So we've got the same information now, but in another format. So I can take this, and what I'm just going to do here is I'm just going to sort the columns. Okay, so we can take this and say, right, okay, so I think that is iron, and that's copper, and lead's PB, isn't it? So what we can see is now, if we flip them over, hopefully, yeah, we got them right, and the rest of them are wrong because the colours don't match. So it doesn't matter what the content is, but you can type in some words, make one activity, make another activity out of the same thing, really, really quick. Okay. There's other things in here as well. We've got things like these web wizards. These have things like the day's news. So if we wanted to do a bit of citizenship, you've got a bit of form time at the beginning of the day. We can go down here and we can look and we can say, okay, we've got an Australian one in here. We can look at today's news from the Australian, and it will take it, assuming it loads it up, and we'll have those kind of things. So iPod death, crash driver walks free, and something about fast food and Chinese asbestos and lots of other things. But these are updated 3 times a day, so you can get the day's news in. So lots and lots of content, basically.